So you're thinking about moving to Oklahoma City. You're trying to figure out, should I move here or should I move there? Okay. This video right here, we're going to break down the whole entire Oklahoma City metro area, but let's go to where most people really want to know. Okay. When people think about moving to Oklahoma City, they're thinking about new construction. They're thinking about the best suburb. Okay. That's what I get the most phone calls about. Okay. And the number one suburb, in my opinion, and for a lot of people who live in Oklahoma City, number one suburb is going to be Edmond. So why Edmond? Why is Edmond the big suburb here in the Oklahoma City metro? Great schools, property value is constantly on the rise, low crime. That's going to be the big reason why a lot of people are going to be flooding to Edmond. Edmond is pretty much the original suburb of Oklahoma City. It's one of the first major suburbs that really kind of popped off in the late 60s, early 70s, and it's still growing in popularity. It's about 15 miles to 20 miles from downtown Oklahoma City. So a lot of people who work downtown, they're going to live in Edmond. After Edmond, you're going to get into Deer Creek, which Deer Creek, again, if you've been watching my channel, Deer Creek's actually not a suburb. It's actually a school district. However, it's a pretty big area. In fact, let me show you the Deer Creek School District. Again, as you can see, it's pretty much going to cover a lot of West Edmond, as well as Northwest Oklahoma City and parts of Northwest Oklahoma County. Okay, that's going to be a very popular spot. Next to Deer Creek, we're going to have Piedmont. Piedmont is in Canadian County, but right next to Deer Creek, close to Edmond, very popular. Then you're going to have Yukon, Mustang, Moore, Norman, and I kind of have a motto. The west side of the metro is pretty much going to be the best side of the metro. This is where everybody's flooding to. Now, if you want a great neighborhood on the east side of the metro, Choctaw. Choctaw's super popular. Another one is going to be Jones. And the reason why Jones is so popular is because part of Jones actually feeds into Edmond Public Schools. Okay? And here's the thing about Edmond Public Schools. Again, like I said earlier, people love Edmond Public Schools because according to niche.com, it's A-rated. But as you can see from this map of Edmond, Edmond is extremely wide, okay? It covers about almost 20 miles from east to west. Edmond is extremely wide. And part of Edmond Public Schools actually touches parts of what we would call Jones proper. Now, Jones itself has its own school district that a lot of people are liking, but there are people who live in Jones that are gonna go to Edmond Public Schools. Same thing with Arcadia. Arcadia doesn't have its own school district, so a lot of those kids are either gonna feed into Jones or they're gonna feed into Edmond Public Schools. And before we get too carried away, make sure you please hit the like and subscribe button. Greatly would appreciate it. And since we're talking about school districts, there's something that you have to know. Where I'm from in California is if you lived in that city, that's the school district you went to. In Oklahoma, that's not the case, okay? There's a lot of areas, again, like I just said, if your kids are in Jones, some of them might go to Jones School, some of them might actually go to Edmond Public Schools. And that's really prevalent on the west side of the metro that we were just talking about. In fact, let me show you a map of Yukon proper. Okay, this is Yukon. Now, let me show you a map of Yukon Public Schools. Okay, Yukon Public Schools is way bigger than Yukon proper. Okay, and the same goes for Mustang. Mustang doesn't seem that big. However, Mustang Public Schools touches Southwest Oklahoma City. In fact, a lot of kids who go to Mustang schools, they're going to live in Southwest Oklahoma City. A lot of kids who go to Yukon schools, they're going to live in Northwest Oklahoma City. Okay? Same with Piedmont. A lot of kids, they don't live in Piedmont proper. They live in Northwest Oklahoma City. Okay? And here's something you got to know. If you're looking for houses in these areas, pretty much anywhere in the metro, and you have kids, and this is working with the wrong realtor, can get you burned. Because if you want your kids to go to one of these A-rated schools, okay, then sometimes a realtor will just basically say, hey, let's find a house in Yukon proper, Mustang proper, or Piedmont proper. However, you're gonna miss out on a lot of new construction And some of those houses are technically in southwest or northwest Oklahoma City. Like, you won't even get to see them because your realtor just selected Piedmont proper, Yukon proper, Mustang proper. And here's what happens. I kid you not. What's going to end up happening is your kid's going to have a play date, or they're going to go to a party, and you're going to drop them off, and you're going to drop them off someplace that's like 10 miles from your house. And you're going to be thinking to yourself, how the heck does this kid go to Yukon schools or Mustang schools or Piedmont schools? Okay. And then the parent tells you, hey, my house is in Oklahoma City, but guess what? We feed into one of those school districts. And those people live next to better grocery stores, better activities. They live next to the turnpike to go to and from places, next to a highway. Like, you're thinking to yourself, like, I much rather would have lived here. But again, when you work with the wrong realtor, they're not gonna tell you this, okay? And you end up in an area that you really don't want to be in, or not that you hate it, but you would have much rather been someplace else. As far as property value is concerned, Edmond's gonna probably be your lead dog in this. However, Deer Creek, again, it's a school district, but people who live around here know the Deer Creek area. So when it comes to property value, if a house is $400,000 in Edmond, it's probably going to be the same in Deer Creek. Okay, just think Deer Creek and Edmond, their property values are going to be pretty comparable. In fact, right now, I think Deer Creek actually has a higher property value than homes in Edmond public schools. Okay, last time I checked, that was the case. But again, if a house is $400,000 in Edmond, then in Piedmont, it's probably going to be $388,000. Same in Yukon. In Mustang, more, it might be $380,000. Same builder, same floor plan. It's just property value in Edmond is going to be a little bit higher than it is going to be in Moore, Mustang, Piedmont, Yukon. Norman, kind of an outlier. There are actually some really great places in Norman. And, you might, certain neighborhoods, they might be comparable to Moore, and some are going to be comparable to Edmond. Norman's is a good place. A lot of people sleep on Norman a little bit, but Norman actually has some really good schools that people like. And it's a college town because the University of Oklahoma is there, but Norman's a good place. As far as Choctaw to Edmond, again, we're talking about maybe $375, $380. Choctaw is going to be a little cheaper. You might even get some land with your property. But again, Edmond's going to be your lead dog. Arcadia, Jones, they're going to be a lot like Piedmont and Yukon. Little cheaper, but not by much. Now, what about some of these other areas, Russell? What about Midwest City? Midwest City, okay, that's Tinker Air Force Base. A lot of military personnel, very hardworking, blue-collar town. Del City's going to be right next to it. It's going to be a little bit smaller. Same thing. Del City, the last couple of years has been on some list as one of the 10 worst cities in Oklahoma. I used to live in that area. My very first house was in Southeast Oklahoma City, right next to Del City. I didn't have too many problems when I was living over there. However, if you do some research on Del City, you're gonna run into some things. There's also another little town right here called Valley Brook, which seems like a really nice, quaint place. But Valley Brook is really basically just a 1 mile stretch of strip clubs. Okay, so that's what Valley Brook is. It's literally like a postage stamp, and there's like 7 strip clubs on this one little stretch, which is right off Southeast 59th Street. And if you do take Southeast 59th Street going past Valley Brook, and you're one of those people that don't want to see all the signs and drive fast, be careful. They'll get you. The cops in Valley Brook, boy, they'll pull you over. They got a strict speed limit of like 25 miles per hour. A similar area to that is going to be, let's move the map over a little bit. It's going to be Northwest 10th and Reno, in between Portland and Council. You're going to have a lot of, bars, adult entertainment in that area. Again, when I was in news, you're going to have some drugs, prostitution kind of going on in that area as well. So that's definitely an area where you're gonna see, maybe not some of the best sides of Oklahoma City. Again, when I was in news, I also covered a lot of stories. 44th and Robinson, around the south side. It's not as bad as it once was, but you're gonna have prostitution kind of going on that way. But I was just down there a couple of weeks ago. I'm not gonna say that the loosely dressed women that I saw were prostitutes, but I mean, it's a high probability. And look, I think it's my job. I just don't want to tell you all the pluses of a city. You're gonna have some of these pockets of places, okay? And I think a lot of people, when they do these videos, they don't tell you that. They're gonna make it seem like Oklahoma City is just the perfect place in the whole wide world. It's not. And even though gentrification is in full swing in northeast Oklahoma City, there are still pockets of this area that are extremely rough. Now, again, it's not as bad as it once was, but there are going to be sections of northeast Oklahoma City that you might want to stay away from. Now, if the suburbs aren't what you're after, you want a house with a little bit of charm, you want something that's a little older, maybe a Victorian type style, that's going to be Heritage Hills. Heritage Hills is going to be right on the outskirts of downtown Oklahoma City. I mean, it's literally a 15-minute walk, maybe even a 5 to 10-minute bike ride. Heritage Hills, Mesta Park, they're going to be right there. There's also going to be the Plaza District. Plaza District is going to be just west of Mesta Park. It's going to be on the other side of Classen. You're going to have some homes that are like 70, 80 years old that have been revitalized. And then you're going to have some homes in the Plaza District that are going to be brand new. The cool thing about the Plaza District is that there's a lot of nightlife. It's like a little mini downtown. Northwest 16th Street has fantastic bars, restaurants. It's a lot of hot spots there that a lot of people are gravitating to the Plaza District. And then you have downtown itself. The West Village is a great place. I said this in one of my other videos. If I was in my 20s again and I could live someplace, the West Village would probably be on the top of my list. West Village is right next to Myriad Gardens, Scissortail Park, the Square, Bricktown. Again, if you want bars, if you want nightlife, if you want all the action, then West Village is a good spot. Also, Deep Deuce, which is just going to be on the east side of Bricktown. Again, another place that, again, if you're younger or any age, you just kind of want to be next to all the action, the new convention center. That's a great place to be. Scissortail Park is amazing. If you get a chance to go down to see Scissortail Park, I mean, if you got small kids or even older kids, it's fun. Bricktown, it's gonna have things for all ages down there. The Adventure District, the thing I like about it is it's pretty much right off I-44 or right off I-35. You can use either one of them to get there. And they're in the middle of the day, it's no traffic at all. And so if you're a mom and you wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, you want to take your kid to the zoo, you want to take your kid to the firefighter museum, you want to take your kid to the space museum, whatever you want to take your kid in the Adventure District, Cowboy Hall of Fame, you just wake up and you're like, let's just go. You can literally get there no matter where you are in the metro and be there in 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe if you're in Norman, you might take a little further, but you're in Yukon, Mustang, you get on 40, you're there in 20 to 30 minutes. Same thing with downtown Oklahoma City. Scissortail Park, that whole area. You live in Edmond, middle of the day, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Deer Creek area, again, 25 minutes. Mustang, 25 minutes. You're in downtown Oklahoma City. And again, there are going to be a little bit of congestion starting around 4 o'clock because people are getting off work in downtown. But again, a couple of days ago, I went from Moore to my house, and I live in the Deer Creek area. I went 28 miles in 32 minutes. And there was some stop and go, but it wasn't like I got slowed down too much. Maybe if there wasn't traffic, I would have got there like in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So maybe my delay was 2 minutes. And don't get me wrong, at 5 o'clock, that might have just been the exception of the rule. Maybe I just hit it on a good day. But it's not like LA traffic. It's not like Houston traffic. It's nothing like that. So if it takes you normally 25 minutes to go to your house in Moore or Edmond to get to downtown Oklahoma City, it might take you 35 minutes with a little bit of congestion. Okay, 40 at the most. I can't remember the last time I was in some traffic in Oklahoma City at 5 o'clock and it took me like an extra 20 minutes to get someplace. Again, maybe an extra 10, extra 15, 20 would be pushing it. Now the city is growing, so things can change, but nah. I mean, it's just, yeah, you should be able to get to where you're going in an extra 10 to 15 minutes during rush hour. Now, as far as the highway system, again, Oklahoma City is going to have two major highways. I-35, which is going to go north and south, and then you're going to have I-40, which goes east to west. Okay, I-40 and I-35 are major interstates throughout the country. Okay, it will take you from California to North Carolina. I-40 will, and I-35 will take you from Mexico to Canada, basically. But here's the thing about I-35, and if you're going to be living in Edmond, this is something you kind of want to know. Okay, so I-35, when you're coming up from the south, which is Dallas, and for those that don't know, Dallas is only 3 hours away from Oklahoma City. But when you're coming in from the south, you get to downtown, right where I-35 and I-40 kind of hit. They didn't want I-35 to go straight through Edmond, so they actually kind of made it go a few miles to the east and then go back up. So you have two highways that split from I-35. You have I-35 itself, and then you have I-235. I-235 is going to take your downtown crowd into Edmond. Okay, so if you're someone that's living in Edmond, and especially the middle of Edmond, you're going to be taking I-235. Okay, so why is this so important? There's a lot of people actually moving to the east side of I-35. For a long time, no one was really living out there. Okay, but a lot of people are kind of taking the east side of I-35, headed towards that Jones, Arcadia area, the area that we were telling you about. And that's actually on the east side of I-35. If you work downtown, you might want to buy a house in that area because you can easily get on I-35 and get to downtown. I-235, in my opinion, is probably the most congested way to get from Edmond to downtown. All right, because a lot of people live in that central part of Edmond and they're all fighting to get down to 235. Now, if I said in my videos, there's not a lot of traffic in Oklahoma City, but if there's gonna be some congestion, it's going to be in this central area, this Broadway extension, which is another name for 235. So the Broadway extension, 235, there's gonna be some congestion there. I-35, the actual I-35, you can take that all the way down, then jaunt over on 40, about 3 miles, and then you're dead smack in downtown. Now, if you're living in Edmond and you're on the west side, so the Deer Creek crowd, you're gonna be using Highway 74 or the Lake Hafner Parkway. That's what most people call it around here, or Portland Avenue. So it's pretty much Portland, Lake Hafner Parkway, Highway 74, that west side crowd. It's gonna take you all the way down to I-40, the west side of it, and then you'll jaunt that over to the downtown. And then there's a third one, which is going to be I-44. I-44 is gonna come in from Tulsa, and it's gonna pretty much cut all the way through the metro. So when you leave Tulsa, I-44 basically comes diagonally straight through the Oklahoma City metro area. So you have one that goes north and south, east and west, and then one that diagonally cuts right through the metro. Okay, and if we zoom in a little bit to the Oklahoma City metro, okay, you can kind of see that there's other spots that you can go from east to west. And let's start with the top one. The top one is going to be the Kilpatrick Turnpike. Kilpatrick Turnpike will take you from West Metro to East Metro and vice versa. Okay, it's pretty much the separator between Northwest Oklahoma City and Edmond. It's the Kilpatrick. Okay, that corridor, that area, it's going to have the Quail Springs Mall. It's going to have Chisholm Creek. It's going to have a lot of Action, Costco, Target. During the holiday season, it's probably one of the most congested areas in the Oklahoma City metro. And then you're gonna have I-44. So coming in from Tulsa, it's coming in diagonally. Then when it gets to Oklahoma City metro, it kind of levels off and then it dips back down. And you're gonna have down south I-240, which is gonna separate the south side from Moore, pretty much. Moore is actually about a mile south of I-240, but again, I-240 will take you east to west, down south. I-40, when you're in the middle of Oklahoma City, it will take you, I-40 again is pretty much the divider of south side, north side. I-40 will take you east to west. When you're on the north side, the middle of it, I-44 will take you across. And up north, the Kilpatrick will take you from east to west. If you want a little sneaky place to live and you work downtown, Mustang's not a bad choice. And the reason why I say Mustang's not a bad choice, or Yukon, you work downtown, you just get on I-40, it'll take you straight to that south side of Yukon. Okay. Another spot, again, is Mustang. Mustang, you get on 40 and then you take 44 south, which again, remember I told you how I-44 comes diagonally through the metro? Well, it actually merges into Highway 74 and the Lake Hefner Parkway. Okay, so it turns into I-44 kind of going south for a little bit. You can, the downtown crowd can jump on that and take it to Airport Road, which is Highway 52, and they can go straight into Mustang. I was just on this a few days ago and I was surprised right at 5 o'clock at how free that traffic was going. There were a lot of people that were flying really fast from downtown to go into Mustang. Okay, a lot faster than that Edmond crowd a little bit. Again, Edmond, it's property value. You know what I mean? That's kind of where a lot of people are. But if you're looking for a place that's kind of sneaky, Mustang is a good spot. Yukon, again, that I-40 crowd, just jet on over to get home. Now, if you're moving to Oklahoma and you want a little bit more, I would say rural lifestyle, you want maybe more small town, but you still want to be close to the metro, a couple good possibilities. Again, that Hera is a good choice. Choctaw, even though it's growing, Choctaw technically still will give you that small town feel. West side of the metro, or the west side over here, is going to be that Tri-City area. Blanchard, Tuttle, Newcastle, that's going to be there. That Tri-City is like stepping into the 1950s or 1960s. You're going to have people there are going to have those types of values. It doesn't mean their thinking hasn't modernized since the 50s and 60s. It just means that they are going to be small town, love America, love Oklahoma, love their neighbors, go to church. You know, like these people are going to be very community based. A little bit that I would say that if you're just looking for that small town feel, then that Tri-City area is going to be perfect for you. And again, you're only 20, 25 minutes from downtown Oklahoma City. Another place like that's going to be Cashin, which is going to be just north of Piedmont. Cashin is going to be a little bit smaller than some of those other communities. It's not very big at all, but it's growing by leaps and bounds. Okay, a lot of people who live in that Piedmont area that want something even more rural, they're moving out to Cashin. I like Cashin. I mean, you know, it's not a bad spot to be in. It still lacks some grocery stores and some other things, but if you kind of want that, you know, that small town feel, but only be like 20, 25 minutes away from Oklahoma City, again, Tri-City, that Newcastle, Tuttle, Blanchard area, Choctaw, Hera, and up north, it's going to be Cashin. So, hey, if you need more information about Oklahoma City, just shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. If not, I'll see you on the next video.